Hello and welcome to the Fourth and Clutch podcast. My name is Darren, one half of your host of the show. The other half here, this schmuck Elias. Say what's up to the people.
Watch the slander. My team is coming up. um, what's going on, y'all? Thank you guys for tuning in. This is going to be episode 10. Big deal for us. We're gonna keep trucking through these and consistently put out content for you guys. So again, I say it every episode, but I always appreciate the continued support. Both of us do. So let's jump
100%.
into the show.
Let's get into it. We're starting off across the pond in Madrid. We got a stinker of a game, the Commanders and the Dolphins. Field goal palooza in this one, Elias. I thought the Dolphins were going to run away with it because Devin A-Chain ran for like 180 yards or damn near. So I thought they were going to blow him out. And with Marcus Mariota being the quarterback of this game for the Commanders, he hasn't been playing very well. I thought the Dolphins were going to blow him out. But once again, the Dolphins show that their inconsistencies from game to game. It was a close one. I do believe we both picked the Dolphins in this game. So I'm not surprised that the Dolphins won, but I'm surprised by how low scoring of an affair it was.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of why I don't really care for the global expansion of the NFL. I know they want to make this sport the biggest sport in the world. I don't think we're realistically ever going to compete with soccer when it comes to a global scale. Overseas, they just support it just as hard as we support football, and they have a lot more people overseas than we do here. But again, so these games, you could just tell the players are just playing very sluggish. They're going through the motions. Of course, you have a player here and there that's they woke up on the right side of the bed. They got acclimated very quick. Stafford back in that London game where he had 5 touchdown passes against the Jags. This one, it was Achan, and then everyone else is just like, I don't really feel like being here. I'm just here to get a check so I don't get fined. But all in all, I mean, I didn't wake up for this game. I went back and looked at some clips here and there of some plays, so don't have a whole lot to say about it. Definitely was expecting a little bit more of a competitive game in the aspect of higher scoring. Both defenses have been miserable to start off the year. Commanders defense locked up a little bit, but that could also be the Dolphins just not performing the way they should have, minus HN. Jalen Waddle didn't really do much this game, neither did any of the receivers. And then when it comes to the Dolphins defense, they've kind of been sneakily getting better as the weeks have gone on, even when losing Jalen Phillips to your Eagles. So interesting to see moving forward, especially when it comes to fantasy matchups, what's gonna happen. This was that freebie team that every running back went off against, and now lately they've been kind of locking up people. So all in all, once I looked at the clips and everything, it looked like a very boring game to begin with. I was not waking up at 7:30 in the morning to watch that.
Yeah, if you're gonna put overseas games, at least make it decent teams, not these below 500 schmucks. Anyways, next game, AFC South. We had a pretty solid game here. The Panthers and the Falcons. Bryce Young taking it back to his Alabama days on this one, going absolutely crazy. Kirk Cousins, you're old and you suck. And Michael Penix is probably done for the year. I'll let you take this one first.
All right, not to beat the dead horse talking about fantasy football, but this one killed me to watch Drake London on one of the last plays of the game go down, hurt his knee in a game just to lose anyways. Or I believe they ended up losing, right? Yeah. So broke my heart into a million pieces. Michael Penix going down, that sucks because it helps this offense tremendously. It was interesting when I saw Kirk Cousins initially sign there last year. I was like, the Falcons might be doing something. No, he had a few good games last year, and then this year he just looks lost. You can almost tell the love of football kind of left his body. He was excited to get back in as the quarterback, but he's doing nothing to prove that he deserves a spot. One of the quarterbacks that we're going to get into that I think has been outplaying him by a wide margin on getting another starting chance is Jacoby Brissett. There's a bunch of these journeyman quarterbacks that look way better than what Kirk Cousins has shown in a game and a half. So disappointed to see it from him. I honestly thought he would do a lot better, but all in all, it was a hell of a slugfest all the way till the end. Bryce Young going crazy for over 400 yards. Ted McMillan having himself a day, over 100 yards receiving, a couple of touchdowns to go along with it. So great game all in all. This was one of those weeks where in fantasy it was horrible to watch because everyone underperformed. The people you didn't think would blew up, and I think in the 4 or 5 leagues that I'm in, I think the highest scoring I saw was 170, and the closest to that was 150. So very low scoring week for fantasy in general. It's just one of those weird weeks. You go back to week 1 the week ones of the NFL season where everyone's just kind of sluggish coming out the gates. But all in all, I enjoyed this game. It was kind of playing simultaneously while the Bears were playing, so I was catching on the TV behind me.
Mhm.
But yeah, fun game all in all.
Yeah, this game hurt my heart because in my girlfriend's league, I help her run her fantasy team, and we benched Tedero McMillan this week
Yeah,
because in the league that she's in, I have one flex. So my flex player was Travion Henderson. Now at starting receivers, I wasn't going to bench AJ Brown or Emeka Ibuka for Tedero McMillan, and he just happened to go crazy. Big game for him. Him and Ibuka have been the clear best receivers in their class, making those have really established their dominance as the top wide receivers. Could be fringe. Ibuka is looking like a fringe top 10 guy next year. I don't think he'll have a BTJ regression because he's actually good versus BTJ. Because Ibuka actually catches the ball. There's a difference there. But yeah, Panthers winning this game with on Bryce Young's arm was the most impressive thing for me because they
yeah.
didn't have to rely on Rico Dowdle in the run game that much. So we're definitely not getting this Bryce Young every week for sure. But if he could at least play at like a half of this every week, the Panthers become a very scary team because their defense is very good. So they become a sneaky good team come this later time of the year where they can sneak into the wild card. So if you're a team like the Cowboys, the Packers, the Vikings, you're kind of watching your back like, oh crap, like
Yeah.
we might need to worry about this team on who's coming up the rear for the wild card games. So yeah, all in all, big win for the Panthers and huge win for them in the North, especially because going into our next game, actually, Bills and Bucks, the Bucks lost this weekend. So now you're kind of in a slugfest for that number one position. The Bucks are letting to step away, who were clear cut runners away of the division to begin with at the season. Now it's between them and Carolina, and the Bucks keep skidding, man. I know Josh Allen went absolutely insane for 6 total touchdowns, 3 throwing, 3 rushing. I know he threw 2 picks, but they didn't play a factor with how good he played overall. The Bucks defense still lacks a lot. My question for the Bucks is, what are you gonna do when Bucky Irving comes back? Do you even? I mean, here's the thing: is I think Rashad White's the perfect complement to both these backs now, Tucker and Bucky. But with the way Bucky's injury is and the way Tucker's playing, I don't even think you have to bring Bucky Irving back. In all honesty,
Yeah, I wouldn't rush him back because like this is one of those players like he just blew up on the scene last year, a later round pick, turned out to be a stud. And he dealt with 2 injuries simultaneously when he, got hurt that at the very end of that last game against the Eagles, correct?
yes.
Yeah. So midfoot sprain and something wrong with his shoulder that for whatever reason they're never willing to fully disclose. And, I always thought like the NFL kind of forced teams to disclose full injuries, but I guess that's not a thing. I don't know. It was always like an undisclosed shoulder injury. With the way the Bucks are playing right now and they're losing a lot of these tough games, I feel like they desperately need him. And that sucks, right? Like he might be a week or two too soon coming back, but they desperately need him. They haven't had receivers
Mhm.
all year. They might get Mike Evans for the tail end of the season. Godwin and Bucky have actually been participating in practice in a very limited role, no pads
Mhm.
yet. So it could be another week or two before they're ramped up. But even then, if either of them are not ready to go, it sucks because they're in a tough position where they're still at the top of their division, which is a very weak division, but it's a close race at this point. It's like 1 game difference between them and the Panthers.
Mhm.
So it's tough to say. I mean, I personally wouldn't want to see them go back out there and get re-injured again because just sucks to see like these 2 talented players. Godwin was a monster at the beginning of last year until he got hurt with that gruesome fibula injury. Came back and looked awful and then got re-injured again. So, the risk of getting re-injured is going to decimate their season if they rush them too soon,
100%.
but they're at a point where like they kind of need them. So splitting hairs on that one, but all in all, I enjoyed this game too. Josh Allen balled the hell out. I was
Mhm.
making jokes like, "Oh, I didn't know Josh Allen was a running back." Like I thought James Cook would come away with a couple of these touchdowns, but Josh Allen
Don't
decided to
remind
take
me.
everything for himself. So
Don't
yeah, if you
remind
had
me.
Josh Allen in fantasy, most likely you won your week with those 42.5 points that he got you in full PPR. So that was nice to see. But we knew this was going to be a banger of a game. It lived up to the hype all the way up until the end where it kind of just died down. The Bills pulled away, but still a very fun game to watch.
Yeah, 100% was a great game to watch. My only concern out of this game for the Bills is you're still relying on Josh Allen to be Superman. Um, he can do this week in and week out. That defense still needs to get figured out. Granted, he pulled this one out without Dalton Kincaid being there, and also with Keon Coleman being benched for a healthy scratch for this game because he missed a team meeting on Friday. So he was a healthy scratch for this game, and they still pulled it off. But yeah, still think my same thing as we both said last week for the Bills. You just can't keep relying on Josh Allen to have these kind of weeks every week for you to win these games, especially in a year where the AFC is kind of having a down year. So this is a season for the Bills where it's like, if not now, when type of deal
Yeah,
for them.
their Super Bowl window has been open for a few years now, and it like that's the thing you learn with this NFL. Like, even if you have that quarterback, like Super Bowl windows only last for so long
Mhm,
because you have to pay the quarterback, you got to pay the weapons, you got to pay the edge rushers, you got to pay the O line, and they have some money tied up into this O line. They have a ton tied up into Josh Allen. They don't have a whole lot tied up into their weapons when it comes to the offense, but they did just pay James Cook an extension. So
mhm,
it's like, is this the year that they finally can get over that hump? With the Chiefs struggling as of late, or this season in general. So it might be their year, it might not. It's it's just hard with that defense. You see some of these teams that have Super Bowl caliber defenses and they
mhm,
have, JV level offenses. So it's kind of it sucks to see that those teams can get the great defenses and the Bills just tend to never get those kind
mhm.
of defenses. So Josh Allen, Superman, keep it going as long as you can. And honestly, that's my favorite team that I want to go to the Super Bowl. Not necessarily my favorite to pick. I would just love to see it.
Yeah, Josh Allen's one of those people like just deserves a ring at this point in his career. All right, guys, moving to the next game. Didn't see this coming. Jaguars Donkey Kong clap Chargers 35-6. Um, I don't really have much to say about this game just because, oh man, I should feel bad for Justin Herbert. That O line is atrocious. I know his two best O linemen are out, but like it's way worse than I thought it was gonna be for him. And yeah, all I can say is I feel bad for Justin Herbert at this point.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting this. I think you and me called the Chargers in this game, and
Mhm,
yeah, the last thing I expected was just them to get completely blown out, embarrassed. I know they were away, but regardless, like this is just that proven saying any given Sunday, like you expect the Chargers to walk in. Usually every couple of weeks, there's just that trap game where like nobody's expecting it to happen and it happens. And
mhm,
this one in ugly fashion. It sucks when you lose your 2 best O linemen, it's like, you don't understand the importance of it until you finally have, like, the worst possible case scenario. No Joe Alt for the season or for most of the season, he's been on IR, I believe, twice this time or this year,
mhm,
or at least missed an extended period of time to add up to 2 IR stints. Rashawn Slater got hurt in the preseason or, training camp, out for the year. It's awful to watch. I feel bad for him. It almost like goes back to like is Harbaugh the guy? Is he not the guy? Is it them not being able to stay healthy? But then you look around the league and it's like, well, 49ers lost damn near everybody and they're competing. They're almost at the top of their division, if not for the fact that the Rams and Seahawks decided to be unreal this year. Like they would be on the top of most divisions, especially in the AFC. So I don't know. It's hard to say it's whether are they really is he really the guy? Because this defense hasn't looked great all year long.
mhm,
He's a defensive minded coach. You've gotten more out of your offense at the beginning of the year, but then ever since, it almost seems like once Marion Hampton went down, um, it just went all downhill. Kamani Vidal ended up getting hurt as well. We'll see if he plays this upcoming week. I do believe they're actually on bye. No,
they
that's
are
going
on
to be
bye.
week. Is it week? No, they're actually on bye week 12, I believe, because week 13 is the week that
This is week
Marion
12.
Hampton's.
This week
Oh, you're
12.
right. You're sorry. I'm sorry. Um, yeah, no. See, this NFL season is blowing past me. I forget what week it is sometimes. But awful to see just this team just completely implode. Um, Year after year, just they start off, give everybody some hope, and then the season falls apart before you know it.
Yeah, definitely. I think when they get Hampton back, I do think it'll help them out a lot. I still do think their defense is good enough to keep this team afloat, but we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah.
Heading to the NFC North, we got the Bears and the Vikings. Bears almost kind of blow this one. It resulted in a Caleb Williams comeback, but this is more of the Bears almost blew it, in my opinion. Um, I think the Bears played a great three quarters. That fourth quarter
Well,
is a real struggle for them, where JJ McCarthy might just be a fourth quarter merchant at this point. For whatever reason, he just turns up in the fourth quarter. But with you guys getting 2 interceptions, I thought you guys were gonna blow the doors off the Vikings at that point, and you guys kind of didn't. One thing I really hated about what Ben Johnson said at the press conference after the game was that he doesn't like throwing 50-50 balls. He'd rather scheme it open to get the guy wide open. And I get it, but there are times where you need to throw that 50-50 ball, whether you want to or not. You just need someone to make a play. And I don't know if that's because he doesn't trust Rome Odunze to make that play, or he doesn't trust Luther Burden or Cole Kmet or something like that to go make that 50-50 catch. But you need to do it. Because I think if they were to throw more of those 50-50 balls and maybe to Colson Loving be your 50-50 guy just to make a play, you guys would be scoring more points and winning games a little more comfortably on those 50-50 balls. So that's one thing I didn't like about what Johnson said in press conference. But overall, not a bad showing out the Bears. The defense stepped up this game for sure. JJ McCarthy, you're on fraud watch, but like I said, you're kind of a fourth quarter merchant though. So, but you're still a fraud. You're just a fourth quarter merchant. Bears #1 division, courtesy of the Eagles too, of course. So you're welcome.
I'm gonna insert that meme of the Crips and Bloods coming together with the Bears logo and Eagles. I'm gonna insert it right now.
So thank us for that. But yeah, what did you think of this game from you being the Bears fan of this podcast? You know, what did you think of the game overall, and how did you feel in that fourth quarter watching it?
Man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna live to be 43. Like I'm counting down the years, year after year, and I'm like, all right, I think I'm at 43 years of life at this point, and after that, my heart might give out. The cardiac Bears do it again. They the fourth, fifth win that it's came down to the final drive to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's something to say. There's an art form to it to win these close games like this. What scares me is when we start playing the legit teams if we do make a playoff run. You can't play like that against the Bills. You can't play like that against the Eagles, the Rams, the Seahawks. Like you'll get the doors blown off you if you guys play like this.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my brother were kind of calling it out during the game that we were like playing not to lose, or we're playing, to not lose near the end of the game. And it was almost reminiscent. I was getting PTSD of like Matt Eberflus's coaching style. Like
Mm-hmm.
instead of just like blowing the doors off them, putting an end to the game before it even hits the fourth quarter, like we're just playing very conservative. I had to watch Chase Daniel, former Bears quarterback, former Lions quarterback, backup, of course, but he was just breaking down the film, and he was just talking about how he didn't like a lot of Ben Johnson's play calling. This is back-to-back weeks where I also didn't like it. A little too conservative. I didn't like the comment either about the 50-50 balls. I feel like at this point, like, Caleb's shown enough that maybe he's not a definitive hammer to the table and say he's a franchise guy, but he's showing every bit of what you would want in a future quarterback for now, at least. Like play out his contract. He'll probably earn his way to a second contract. Everything after that depends on how he plays up until then. But the dude has one of the most talented arms in the league. He needs to work on his accuracy, of course, but that's never been one of his strong suits throughout college. Obviously, in the NFL, he's a sub 65% guy, but he probably is never going to be over 65% unless he just does nothing but checkdowns like some of these quarterbacks do. But overall, like this dude makes throws game in, game out that I've never seen a Bears quarterback do, and he's constantly doing it. It was just stressful to watch. I don't like the play calling. Uh, we'd get the ball back on a turnover just to run the ball 3 times, or we'd
Mm-hmm.
run some like weak formations or whatever. But it kind of helps because I believe that Brian Flores, there's a stat that he sent the blitz about 76% of the plays this game, which
Mm-hmm.
was his highest of the season. He's already known for blitzing, but he blitzed literally the entire game. So I think Ben Johnson and him were just kind of having a chess match of like, let me stop this pressure first. But with that, it is hard to like form any kind of offense when you have 6 players coming at you down near every play. You got 5 linemen, and then you got like Swift or somebody doing a little chip block. But all in all, back to back weeks as well. Last week I gave the Bears a pass with the drop balls because it was horrible conditions.
Mm-hmm.
But Zacchaeus finally got benched. It seems like they're gonna finally let Luther Burden take over. He had a bad drop. DJ Moore had an atrocious drop where he almost dropped 2, actually. There was one where he made like a Julian Edelman-esque type
I
of
saw
catch,
that.
and even Tom Brady called it out, like where it fumbled, he squeezed it with his thighs and then pulled the ball back up. But then he had another drop where he had a drop after that where Caleb hits him in anticipation, hits him right in the chest, and starts running before he catches it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how you drop balls in this league. I don't know. I definitely think he's gonna have the receivers on the jugs machine all week because we can't have this. Caleb had a couple of throws to the end zone that should have been caught for touchdowns. That should have been a blowout, but it wasn't because of things like that. Jake Moody ended up getting signed off our practice squad to the Washington Commanders, ironically enough, the team that we beat with his leg.
Mhm.
So little little worrisome because Cairo Santos again got another kick that just sailed way off, didn't look anywhere remotely close. So we don't have any more backup options as a kicker. We're kind of stuck with him for the rest of the year. Going to be about 33, 34 next year. So I'm hoping the Bears look into getting a kicker next season, but overall, happy for the win, stressed as hell to watch it. Um, but excited for things to come. This team, you know, they pissed me off in the fourth quarter until they make that comeback or until they kick that field goal, that game winning field goal. But I would just love to see a game where the Bears just convincingly win. But again, there is an art form to winning close. You know, Commanders did last year. And look where it took them.
Yeah, definitely. My only concern for the Bears right now, of course, is still the defense, of course, but that's because of lack of talent on
Horrible.
that side of the ball. But
They're just hurt. Yeah.
the kicking situation does concern me for you guys because even the 54-yarder Santos hit, that would not have been good from 57 yards. So that is getting very concerning. So if I was the Bears,
And
I
that's
would
in a
say go.
dome.
Yeah, I would say go sign Young Hoku, but the Giants did pick him up already out of free agency. So if I were you guys, I'd definitely be scouring the. I'd be hosting tryouts for a kicker just in case if I was the Bears. Just saying.
Me too.
Speaking of Young Hoku and the Giants, they played your division rival, the Packers, and they should have won this game. Um, J- Jalen Hyatt stopped on the corner route, which caused Jameis Winston to throw a pick. I know people started memeing it right away that Winston, like good old Winston, reared his head again. But watching the route over and over again, Jalen Hyatt just stopped running to the corner route because he threw in anticipation. If Hyatt kept running the route, she was shielding off the DB already. So that would have been the game time touchdown right there for the Giants. The Packers, again, I've been saying it since we started this podcast, at least. They're a super fraudulent team. Jordan Love finally had a decent game. He made some decent throws. But again, it's going to go to can he be consistent, which we know he can't be. So if I had to take a guess, next week he's going to probably not play a very good game because he had a good game this week. Tells me bad game next week.
Yep.
But all in all, not even their defense played that good. Giving him 20 points to Jameis Winston shouldn't happen with this good of a defense that the Packers have. I know we did call it that you're either get 380 from Jameis or 104 picks, but Jameis played a really good, clean game. And the most surprising part was the Giants ran the ball very efficiently
Yeah.
against this Packers defense. That was the most shocking thing, is how efficient they were running the ball. Excuse me. So that gives me a lot of concern for the Packers going forward. But like I said, they're frauds. I'm praying on their downfall.
Yeah, I'm always going to pray on a Packers downfall. I want their fans to experience what it's like to be a Bears fan. But yeah, I mean, even for my fantasy boom bust, like it was just an awful week in general. I did the math and I believe I was wrong on two of them. One of them being Tyrone Tracy. I was spot on with the analysis, split the carries. The receiving usage went to Devin Singletary. It just so happened that they got a couple touchdowns. So yeah, I missed that one. And I was so disappointed to see because they split the carries down the middle and they were a very efficient two-headed monster. I mean, the fourth best defense against running backs, and they just ran all over the Packers. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
hear nothing about Micah Parsons for MVP anymore. Like, just stop the cap. At this point, it's somebody on the Denver Broncos or it's Miles Garrett, who's on pace to beat the all-time sack record by a decent bit. I think he's on pace for like 25 and a half sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Just sucks because he's on the Browns and they're atrocious. So of course, why would they give it to some guy who's he's helping them, but they're not winning.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I don't want to hear nothing about Micah Parsons anymore. He's what he's always been. He's just a flashy, quick edge rusher who doesn't get a whole lot of sacks, is terrible against the run, and he displayed it in bunches this game. Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy just look like Sonic and Knuckles for this game. Like they went off. But yeah, like you said, Jameis Winston, I mean, disappointed in Jalen Hyatt, who's one of the more overhyped Linsanity seasons when coming out of Tennessee, where it just you thought he was gonna be this crazy deep ball threat, gadget player, almost like a Rashid Shaheed, but
Mm-hmm.
he's been so disappointing these last few years and seeing him like just blow that route completely and giving his quarterback an interception, like Jameis played fine up until that point, and that wasn't even on him. So regardless of him getting credited for the interception. I thought he played well. Uh, Packers, I'm sorry. I know we played close with the Giants, uh, but again, you guys have one of the best defenses in the league. You guys had a Super Bowl caliber defense up until this game, and the Bears are playing with fourth, fifth, sixth string cornerbacks, and we won in convincing fashion in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You guys keeping it close all game, and you guys barely made that comeback at the end. I know it sounds funny to say we basically beat them the same way, but again, you guys have Super Bowl caliber defense. Bears are playing with people we're signing off the streets and begging them to play for us right now.
Yeah, definitely. So now I can give it the Packers going forward. Next game, an AFC North showdown. Steelers and Bengals. We both got this one wrong. I know we both went with the Bengals in this one. Aaron Rodgers possible season-ending injury with the fractured wrist. They're saying. I don't have too much to really say on this game other than it's just kind of the Bengals being the Bengals in this one.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't really have too much in-depth analysis in this one because I'll be honest with you guys. I watched maybe at most like 5 minutes of this game because I had no reason to watch this one.
Yeah, no, this is one of those like more boring like divisions when people are hurt, especially when Joe Burrow's out, which seems to be a trend nowadays. But it's sad to see because Joe Burrow was expected back sometime in December. He's on pace to hit the mark where they initially set it, and
Yeah, now don't even bring him back.
yeah, but now they're coming to the point where we're probably not going to see him. He's too expensive an asset. You guys are paying him all this money. It's probably better off just to keep him sat for the rest of the year. Let Joe Flacco ride it out for his possibly his final year in the NFL.
Mhm.
Aaron Rodgers, I did see an updated report that it was confirmed that he doesn't need surgery, that it's
Wow.
probably not a fracture, and that he's going to be pushing to play my Bears this upcoming weekend, which I wouldn't have it any other way. Don't get me wrong. I love a game against a backup, but the last time we played a backup, we played against Snoop Huntley, who whooped our ass. So I'd rather go against Aaron Rodgers. Let's get one last win above him, or probably our only win in several years. But let's just send him into the sunset with the Bears win. Um, no one really impressed me this game. I think the Bengals just played bad. I think the Steelers took advantage of that. They're well coached enough to take advantage of a team that plays bad,
Mhm.
and it ended the way it should have. But obviously, we both got it wrong. I thought the Bengals were going to come out with a little bit more fight.
Yeah, definitely. Heading into another division game here into the AFC South, Texans and Titans. A lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I know it's Davis Mills at quarterback, but I honestly thought the Texans were drop 30 on the Titans. That didn't happen. Another just kind of field goal off, a mid off for sure. Titans at this point they're just playing to build confidence in next season, and but while retaining that number one pick is kind of their whole prerogative right now. If you're the Titans, if you're the Texans, you're back to 5-5 now. Your division is you still have a chance to make a run at the wild card because the Colts are probably still going to win your division, but the wild card is wide open right now for the Texans. And CJ Stroud's coming back, I assume next week off protocol. So they're in a good position to make here a late season run for that wild card position. But other than that, not too much to say about this game either, just because it's the Titans, man. Like they're
Yeah.
never gonna pick them to win.
Yeah, and until we do our preview for the following week video, like I don't really pay attention to like the Thursday night games until we're doing the research for the videos. If I'm not mistaken, the Texans actually might be playing Thursday, so I'm hoping to see some CJ Stroud, Davis Mills, fun to watch him air it out a bunch of times, but he's not the guy. CJ Stroud is better. He hasn't played very great this season, but like that's the guy that they're committing to for their future. You want to see them get more of those reps, especially in probably the weakest division in football, obviously minus
Mhm.
the Colts. Um, yeah, and the AFC is wide open at this point. I mean, you even have the Ravens sneaking up on the Steelers, going multiple weeks without majority of their starters. Started off 1-5, and they're already one game behind the Steelers. So, yeah, I mean, the AFC is wide open right now. If the Texans can make a nice push for this tail end of the season, they could sneak into the playoffs, and that'd be interesting to see. Maybe they'll get hot when December comes. A lot of these teams like that start off slow, they play their best football in December. So, possibly it could be one of those teams. Titans, I don't have much to say. Just all in all, dumpster fire season. Cam Ward doesn't look great. Like he almost looks. I mean, I can't blame him. I try not to blame these kids. They're 20, 21 years old coming out of college, and they dominated at the collegiate level, and then they go to the worst possible team in the NFL, and then they somehow got worse acquiring free agents and drafting all these players, but Tennessee is just a dumpster fire. They're so ass.
They are, and I want to do this topic. We'll probably do this topic on Thursday. But I saw a crazy stat of like how many first rounders and second round quarterbacks have not been successful. So I'm starting to think that there's just an NFL development issue when it comes to some of these quarterbacks for sure. So that's something I definitely want to get to later in the week. But heading into our next game, the Niners and the Cardinals. I don't want to talk about this because hate the Niners. I don't want to give them any credit. I already gave them too much credit this year already as is. Great coaching job by uh, by Shanahan.
Shanahan.
Great coaching job by you. You know how to scheme people open, make it easy for Brock Purdy because he's not that good. Cardinals, you guys just stink. Just prepare for the draft. Jonathan Gagnon, start updating your LinkedIn profile, buddy, because you're going to be looking at the job market next year for sure. But yeah, other than that, just outcoached for sure in this game. And the Niners, I mean, like I said, I don't think any of us have high hopes for the Cardinals in general this year. I mean, beginning of the season they looked okay, but now it's just like, okay, it's just Brissett back there. Like they're just kind of riding the wave to the draft at this point, and they'll be looking next year to offload Kyler. But like I said, great coaching job by Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh. Wait, how about your bum quarterback? Great win for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, McCaffrey is him. When this dude's healthy, he's the best running back in football. When it comes to comparing, both aspects of running back, receiving and running, nobody's even close to him. Nobody's been close to him for years. But just one of those anomaly season where he finally stays healthy, and it's probably going to ride out that way. So if you drafted McCaffrey at that 1-2 turn, congratulations, you're probably on the top of your league. But I want to give a little shout out to Jacoby Brissett because you're going to see all those great quarterback names for the records, and then you're going to see most completions in a game, and it's going to be set by Jacoby Brissett in a blowout loss.
Oh
Spot
man,
on with my Michael Wilson pick. If you had him in your starting lineup, maybe you just had no other choice. I played against him in my work league, so that was brutal to get 30 pointed by Michael Wilson, who's been ass for his entirety of his career. But yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy played fine. He played solid. I mean, the Cardinals most of the season have been like a feisty team. Like their record might not display it, but they battle. And in this
yeah,
division
definitely,
rivalry, like they just rolled over until like halfway through the game, and it was already out of reach at that point. So most of those completions came in garbage time for Jacoby Brissett. But all in all, I mean, shit, that many completions in any NFL games, a huge accomplishment. There's a reason it's a new record in 2025. So hats off to him. Cardinals, you guys are, again, like Darren said, just prepare for the draft, prepare for a top 10 pick, prepare for a top 15 pick, and hopefully get this team rolling in the right direction because,
definitely.
yeah.
Keeping it in the NFC West, uh, the Sam Darnold Casper Scene Ghosts, aka the Seattle Seahawks, against the Los Angeles Football Rams. Sam Darnold just played himself out of the MVP conversation with this one. 4 picks in a game. He didn't play good. There's no other way to put it than he just didn't have his best stuff out there. But the caveat I have to this game is the Ram. If a guy throws 4 picks, how do you not win by 3 or more touchdowns?
Yeah.
Hats off to that Seahawks defense. I think the Seahawks should have won this game in a sense. They just missed a field goal to hit the game winner. So if I'm the Rams, I'm kind of like we kind of stuck away with one in here. Like we were given 4 extra possessions because the quarterback on the other side stinks in big games. Rams defense is legit. There's no denying it. But like I said, there's just something about this Rams team that I know they're playing red hot right now, but this is one of those games that shows me that like they have tendency to crumble in big games as well. I.e., when the Eagles game earlier in the year when we dropped 23 on them in the second half and helped shut them out to come back and win. So like this Rams team does give me some concerns in that sense. That is like how are you guys gonna handle these big game moments? Because it kind of shows in this game. I know you guys got the W, but it kind of showed that you in these tougher games, you guys have a chance to like really lose these games. Because even if the Seahawks just scored 1 touchdown, you guys lose this game 100% because of how good that Seahawks defense actually is.
Yeah. I mean, Seahawks defense is one of the best ones in the league right now. Like they're showing it week in, week out.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Stafford was my favorite for the MVP up until this game, and they made him look pedestrian. 130 yards passing. At least he took care of the ball. That was the difference between him and Sam Darnold in this game. That's probably why
Mm-hmm.
it led to the outcome that it did. again, like you said, 61 yarder from Jason Myers just sailed it. They had a chance to win it, which was crazy. So Stafford just having a pedestrian game. That defense completely shut him out. Sam Darnold has been like the story of his careers. Like he has some good highs, but then he has some really low lows.
There's no in
And
between.
yeah, and he just plays with the ball a little too much, and you see it with some of these interceptions that come. Like he's throwing some egregious interceptions throughout the season, but he's played well all year long. But yeah, he's not in the MVP race anymore. That solidified it for him. But still a great season overall for him. God awful game. Hopefully they can bounce back next week because yeah, that division's looking scary with the teams that's in it. So it's really just a three-headed race at this point. Maybe the Rams pull away a little bit here with these next couple of games, but with some of these division matchups coming up in that division, it's going to be crazy to see like how this shapes up for the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. I still think the Seahawks will win this division somehow. I know it sounds crazy, but I just got a feeling that there's gonna get hot because I do believe the Seahawks have a lot of home games down the stretch. And after being at that stadium, that is the best home field advantage in the NFL for sure.
Yeah.
Heading to the AFC North, we had the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens had to come back in this one. It took a horrible performance from Shaduki Sanders to let the Ravens come back into this one. All right, let's be honest. Let's just cut the bullshit here. Shador sucks. 4 for 16, a pick, and he had like 80. He had like 45 yards in sacks. And this is the same issue everyone said coming out of college. He holds the ball too long, and sure enough, is exactly what he's did. He's inaccurate. Yeah, he had 2 or 3 good throws. I'll give him that. But 4 for 16, you came in with the lead and you blew it, flat out. Myles Garrett had another phenomenal game. That defense played out of their minds. But you're not going to win when your offense does you no favors. I couldn't tell a difference with this offense with Shaduki or Dylan Gabriel being at the helm running this offense. Shaduki is going to be the starter going into next week with Dylan Gabriel being out with concussion. Whoever that defense is, pick them up fantasy if they're on the wire. Just pick up that defense, whoever it is, and hammer the under on Shador Sanders' yards. Hammer the under. But yeah, this game, I know it's a division game, and I know the Browns have a great defense, but I'm starting to question John Harbaugh a lot in
Both
this.
Harbaughs.
Both, I'll give Jim Harbaugh some slack just because, or no, this is Jim Harbaugh. I'll give John Harbaugh some slack in the Chargers because the O line is decimated and your 2 best O line are out, so it's harder to win. But Jim Harbaugh, you've had one of the best rosters in the NFL for years, and you can't get to the AFC Championship game. I know that's partially because Lamar does not perform well in the playoffs. It's kind of become the James Harden situation, just playoff choker.
Yep.
But there's no reason why you guys shouldn't have won this game like 35-10.
I agree. I mean, Browns are just consistently showing they have a legit defense. We're talking about the Super Bowl caliber defenses with a shitty offense, and this is them.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Gabriel, sorry to say it, but maybe you just look at that concussion, take your checks, and just go home and stop playing football because it's awful to watch you play. I'll give Shador Sanders the same grace that you gave JJ McCarthy. To be fair, he missed a whole year of football versus Shador
Okay.
hasn't stopped playing football. But when I saw the report that this was his first reps with these starters in the entire year, I'll cut him some slack on that because he has no chemistry with these guys. And that just proves that Kevin Stefanski should have gotten fired immediately after this game, after he made that comment. But it's the Cleveland Browns. Why are they going to fire him? Why do you believe that they're ever going to do anything right? Even if Shador proves the world wrong and he just turns out to be this world beating quarterback, like to hear that a guy that you have as your backup quarterback has no reps with the starters for the entire year, you finally have to rely on him, and this dude has zero chemistry with them. Of course, he's going to go 4 for 16 and an interception and get sacked constantly because he has no idea what he's doing with those guys. He hasn't played with them. Kevin Stefanski, you're just an awful coach. One of the most overrated, in my opinion. Baker Mayfield carried those teams earlier on in your career, and that's the only reason why you continue to get extensions and why you continue to even be a head coach.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're just going to need to go coach somewhere else as an OC. You need to get out of Cleveland in general because they suck. But dumpster fire organization, Ravens, I get it. Division rivalry matchups are going to look a little off sometimes, but yeah, they got to put it together if they really want a chance to win their division. Like they got to lock in because the Steelers, they look decent. They don't look like a bad team. They don't look like a great team. They look decent. But if the Ravens did start off to a 1-5 start, so you have a lot of ground to make up. You guys need to buckle in and get shit right for these next few weeks.
Yeah, 100%. And no, I'm not giving Shaduki any slack because everyone said he's a generational talent, and if he goes 6 for 16, they win that game. But he went 4 for 16, so that's where I stand on it. All you Shador fans, get at me. He sucks. Um, Moving on to a AFC West showdown where the Denver Broncos pulled it out 22-19 to secure the definitive #1 spot in their division. And honestly, this is kind of like the game clinching. Barring an all-time collapse from the Broncos, they pretty much just clinched the division with this win. Bo Nix shows again that he's just a fourth quarter performer as well. But overall, this was probably the best game Bo Nix has played top to bottom the whole year. I know he didn't throw for a touchdown or run for a touchdown, but he protected the ball. He was very accurate. Troy Franklin had a lot of drops this game, critical ones, but granted, he did make a few big catches as well. And it's kind of just back to what we said, what I said last week because I picked the Broncos. I know you took the Chiefs in it. I said this Denver defense is just too good to lose this game. And sure enough, Vance Joseph draws up a corner blitz right at Mahomes, and it pays off dividends, you know. And this is a huge win for the Broncos because they did it without Pat Surtain being in there.
Yeah.
So they're only gonna get better when he gets back. Riley Moss, you suck though. Riley Moss, you need to update your LinkedIn, buddy. I hope you got your degree in college because you need to take full advantage of that degree you got. You are ass.
To be fair, that one PI call on him was complete BS. That was ridiculous. He got cooked all game. Don't get me wrong, but that PI call was
that one PI call. It was egregious. 100%. That was a Swifty call. I'll give him that as a Swifty call for sure. But other than that, he had two other egregious PIs earlier in the game. Neither here or there. But Denver, great just game for them on both sides of the ball. And they did it without having to run the ball. Or their run game was shut down by the Chiefs. And like I said, just overall great game out of Bo Nix. Patrick Mahomes threw an egregious interception down the stretch, which what kind of cost him this game. But even then, the Chiefs offense doesn't look like anything to be worried about or scared of anymore. Rashee Rice, a lot of drops. And just Vance Joseph, like I said, I'm gonna give all credit to Vance Joseph. He schemed it up perfectly. He was bracketing Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce pretty much the whole game, and said we're gonna try to make you beat us with Rashee Rice, and he dropped 3 passes.
Yeah.
You know, in all critical situations. But overall, just great. Just got to tip my hat off to the Broncos in this one more than anything.
It's hard. I don't know if it's like the Chiefs' offense is nothing to be feared of anymore, or is it just the Broncos just have the best defense in the league?
Both.
Like, yeah, like it could be both. Yeah, two things could be true at once. This Denver's defense is insane, though. That D line creates so much pressure. The linebackers, top to bottom, are solid. The DBs minus Riley Moss are great. Even without Pat Surtain, you guys still locked up the Chiefs, which have been a great offense for the last several years. So
and no Alex Singleton either for the Broncos.
Yeah. So missing 2 key players and you guys still shut this team out. Bo Nix, like he had like a reminiscent game of Caleb Williams where, yeah, you don't see crazy numbers on the stat line, but you protected the ball. You didn't make dumb throws. Your receivers costed you on some of these plays, especially when it came to touchdowns. So that's what I'd like to see out of him. I feel like he's had a very talented arm, but he throws into harm's way a little too much. He gets a little pick happy sometimes. But all in all, like this is what they can be capable of. He just needs to protect the ball a little bit more. Sean Payton needs to get him more involved in the pass game early and not rely on him at the end. But Bears and Broncos right now are tied for most fourth quarter comebacks on the year, which is 4 apiece. So again, just one has an insane defense and the other one has one of the worst defenses in the league. So very interesting to see. Of course, the Broncos, I'll give them credit. They've done it against more competitive teams, but all in all, good game for them. Chiefs, we'll get into this in a second, if they're even going to be making the playoffs at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Sunday Night Football, Lions and Eagles. I'll let you go first because
Shake my hand. Thank
I'll
you
let you
for
go
the
first.
division. Ugly game. Don't get me wrong. Boring to watch. Primetime curse continues. It was awful to watch, but it was just a defensive matchup, even though the Lions aren't necessarily known for their defense. But you guys locked up Jared Goff. You guys locked up Jameer Gibbs on the run game. The receiving game, obviously, he broke one for a decent chunk that kind of led to a skewed stat line. But Amon Ra held to a pedestrian game. I don't know if it was Jamison Williams that ended up going off this game or at least having a decent game. So appreciate the division. We beat your guys' whole division for you. You beat our entire division for us. So when it comes down to Friday night football, the NFL forced this upon us. Nobody wanted to see it.
No,
But
I want to
it's gonna
beat
have
that
to
ass.
happen.
I've been wanting it. I've had this game circled since I saw the schedule. We're gonna beat that ass.
Most likely. But yeah, I mean,
Anyways,
yeah, all in all, ugly game. Eagles pull it out by the skin of their teeth, but yeah, it was a hard watch for sure.
yeah. All hell, Lord Vic Fangio. The best defense coordinator in football right now. He Quinion Mitchell had Amon-Ra St. Brown in hell. He
Yeah.
had him in hell. Like he is throwing off all the timings him and Jared Goff had. The defense played great. Jalen Phillips has been instant impact on our team. There's no denying it. We made a great trade, giving him a 3rd-round pick to get him, and we don't even have to resign him. At this point, if he keeps playing like this, though, I want to resign him 100%, bring him back to the team next year. But we are playing some great ball on defense, and our defense just keeps building us out. Our offense is incompetent. Nothing new there. Um, you know, AJ Brown had a decent game, like I said he would. I knew he'd go over his targets and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm drawing something up for you guys, drawing up a play here that the Eagles should run sometime. Give me
Well,
2
yeah,
seconds.
while you're doing that, I'll take over real quick. Yeah, it's just interesting to see like one of the best defensive coordinators in the game for you guys, but then you guys have one of the worst offensive coordinators, which is completely hindering your guys' like opportunities to like blow some of these teams out the water because I do believe you guys have the most talented roster top to bottom. So Fangio, you did your job. Patullo, I don't know why they're not taking the play calling duties from this dude at this point. Like this is just awful to watch. This offense is underwhelming to say the least, week in, week out. They're still pulling it out because again, talent's gonna win. So crazy game for the Lions to fall 6-4. They're not catching a break. It's like almost like when it rains, it pours for them. They're kind of losing their leg to stand on in this division. So we'll see how it goes moving forward for them with the Eagles. You guys are standing on top of that division. I like that play call on 2-on-2.
On 2-on-2, fire this motherfucker. He sucks. I hate him. You might have to edit that out because I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word on YouTube. So we might have to bleep that one out. But Kevin
Yeah.
Patullo, I hate you. You motherfucking son of a bitch. I hate you so much. I've never seen such atrocious play calling. We are running. We're trying to burn the clock, here, right? And we're in shotgun still. Shotgun run, shotgun right, shotgun left. We'll go under center. And it's only a crack toss under center. Why the fuck are you running this bullshit? Like, this literally makes Kellen Moore seem like the most innovative play caller of all fucking time. And his play calling is very, very like basic and simple motions and stuff like that. But I don't understand how we go from having such a great offense last year and being so explosive to we're not explosive at all this year. At all. Like, we don't strike a fear in anyone's hearts on offense anymore. Like, we just don't. And that's because of lackluster play calling. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, the fact that we're not going under center more is atrocious. Like, the whole thing, this offense should be predicated off play action pass, and it's not because we can't run the ball effectively because we're running out of shotgun every fucking time. And then when we do go under center, everyone knows, oh, hey, it's play action. Like, it's just such predictable offense. And like I said, all hail Lord Vic Fangio. Thank you for building us out once again. I really hate the Eagles. I hate this team so much. Like, they're my team, but I hate them so much. I hate Kevin Patullo so much. Clint Kubiak was out there to be hired as OC this offseason, and next year on, he said, "Hey, this is our guy. Tulu's the answer." He's fucking not. There's a reason why last year Harry Roseman stepped in and hired the coordinators himself.
Yeah.
And look what happens when Harry Roseman doesn't do that again this year. Just promote from within. It's a fucking schmuck of a hire. So next year, Patulo, you'll be looking for a job. You should go coach Pop Warner, even though you might fucking suck at that. You fucking moron. Yeah, I hate Kevin Patulo with all my heart. The Brian Johnson offense was not this bad. It's making me miss Brian Johnson. It's making me miss Brian Johnson. That's all I'm gonna say. Next game, anyway. Cowboys and Raiders. I was way off on this prediction. I let my hate and my heart get the best of me, and I still hate the Cowboys, so I'm still gonna pick against them every week. The Raiders just suck, man. Like, there's no way to put it. They just stink. You drafted Ashton Genty. You wasted a first round pick on him to give him 5 carries. I think he got 5, 6 carries total. He got. So yeah, why Chip Kelly still is getting NFL jobs still? I have no fucking idea. Leave his ass in college. That's where he's best at. There's no reason that Chip Kelly should be getting jobs in the NFL anymore.
No. And this is the thing. And I had a coworker, and if he watches this, he'll know exactly which one I'm talking about. He thought I was being like, I was hurt, I was in my feelings, got my panties in a wad or whatever he wants to say. When I had said, haha, Raiders wasted their pick. And I was like, have fun running into a brick wall every week because they have an O-line that couldn't stop the log from rolling uphill. They have the worst O-line in the league. They're atrocious. Geno Smith is getting fucked up the whole year. Like every time I look at a Geno Smith stat line on the live reporting for Sleeper, it's saying like Geno Smith 6 sacks, 5 sacks, 4 sacks. Like this dude is getting killed. Like don't get me wrong, he hasn't played great to begin with, but this O-line was awful. They should have drafted an O-lineman. Don't get me wrong. I'm very excited about Colston Loveland, and I don't think Genty would have fell to us at 10 anyways. But Loveland showing like some.
I do think Genty would have been insane in the Brian Johnson's offense, though, to be fair.
That's what I'm saying. And we revamped our entire O-line. Like it was like almost like meant to happen for him to come to Chicago. Again, I love Colston Loveland. He hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity this year, but now that he's finally getting it, he has like this elite ability after the ball or after the catch that you don't see from a tight end. It's rare that you ever see that where he gets the ball. We had like a 3rd and 17, I believe, and he got 19 yards after like a 8-yard dump off. Like dude just bulldozed through 2 defenders and got taken down by the 3rd. Like happy with the pick, but this is why I said it would be laughable if the Raiders take Genty because they don't have an O-line anyways. And it's not like they're missing a piece or two. They're missing a whole O-line. Like they're going to have to do a Bears revamp. And so far it's worked decent for the Bears, but you don't see that very often in general to where they sign 2-3 players in free agency or draft one player and hope that he can perform. Like you typically can't rebuild in 1 year when it comes to the entire offensive line. Like they have Colton Miller, who wasn't playing very well to begin with. He went to IR. I believe he's coming back soon. But he was their best O-lineman, and that's not even saying much at this point. So I was right about this one. I think that Cowboys offense is just too good. George Pickens, for whatever reason, is looking like the alpha number 1 target in that offense. Maybe, I don't know, CD and Dak are beefing right now or something because I have no idea why George Pickens is dominating these targets lately. NFL young boys at it again. And something that was interesting, and I still have not seen any report. I don't know if you've seen anything like why they set out for the whole first drive, or it might have been a second. They might have set out for 1 or 2 drives, but either way, it was for sure the first one.
They were both late to a team meeting. So is Brian Schottenheimer trying to hold them accountable, but you're not gonna. If it's just one of them, you probably leave him out for a whole half, But since it's both of them, you get to play him. It's not like Keon Coleman situation in Buffalo, whereas like he was the only. It must be a consistent thing with Keon Coleman. That's why who ended up being a healthy scratch. The other interesting thing for this game for me, or for the last 2 weeks with the Cowboys, is Jaden Blue's been a healthy scratch the last 2 weeks. And I know
I don't even know who was playing backup.
I don't even know. I know he had the fumble early, and they're kind of punishing him for that one fumble, even though he recovered it. But I personally was very high on Jaden Blue coming into the season. I was kind of pissed off the Cowboys got him. But I'm just like, if they're not going to use him, like, Jaden Blue, no offense to you, but I hope they don't use you because you're actually really fucking good at football. But yeah. Cowboys. I'm putting this out here since now. I know we're not doing predictions video till week 12, but you guys all know I'm picking my Eagles no matter what. If we lose to the fucking Cowboys on Sunday, I will dye my hair Cali green.
Okay. Not even
I
Dallas blue, since you guys would be losing?
I can't do Cali green. Well, I gotta keep it somewhat work professional here. So if we lose, I will go platinum. I'll go platinum on my head.
Okay,
So like a
fair enough.
silverish color, a silver platinum color. If the Eagles lose to the Cowboys on Sunday, I will go platinum. I know you guys want me to go blue, pink, or some crazy color. I still gotta keep it a little work professional for my job, guys. All right, we're not doing this podcast shit full time yet. But if you guys
Yeah,
like and subscribe to the video, you guys will get us one step closer to freeing us from our jobs. Just so you know. But yeah, so I will
please.
dye my hair platinum blonde if the Cowboys lose or if the Eagles lose to the Cowboys on Sunday.
Okay, we'll hold you to that. So, that's the week 11 recap. We'll jump into the next topic. All right. And then for our next topic, we're going to do a deep dive into the NFC North at this point in the year. Um, I'll start off by saying I won't go too in depth. I'm going to get Darren's opinion on this one first, but I didn't see it shaping out this way, even as a Bears fan, Bears being in first. But we'll jump into your thoughts with the Bears at 7-3 right now, leading the division. The Packers at 6-3-1, which I don't care. They should be below the Lions because they tied with the Cowboys. Lions at 6-4, and the Vikings fall to 4-6 after losing to my Chicago Bears. So, what are you thinking about this division and like what's happening at this point in the year, going into Week 12?
Definitely not what I expected. Um, I still think the Lions will win this division. I just think that offense is a little too good. They just ran into a really good defense in Philadelphia, who just counters everything they do perfectly. And I think them not having Sam Laporta actually did play a big factor in this game, to be honest with you, because I think that's why Quinyon Mitchell kind of had Amon-Ra hell.
Yeah,
Again, I'm not sold on the Packers at all. Am I concerned with the Bears? I do think you guys will make the wild card, but my only concern for the Bears is your guys' schedule gets insanely difficult after the Steelers game. You guys got the Eagles in Philly, go to Green Bay, you got Cleveland at home, Green Bay again, the Niners, and end the season with the Lions. So you
yeah,
guys do not have an easy schedule going forward. Out of 2, 4, 6, 7 games left, I think for you guys to get into the wild card, you guys need to win 3 of the last 4 for sure.
yeah.
4-3 gets you 100% in that wild card, I think. But you guys need to go at least 3-4, and definitely need to beat. You guys definitely need to split with the Packers at minimum. But I think you guys need to find a way to win those 2 games no matter what you do, because it just essentially limits the Packers from even being in contention for the wild card. You guys could be beat them both times. Packers, again, I'm not sold on them. The Vikings have JJ McCarthy. They suck.
I remember when we did like one of our first videos. It might have been the first video of episode 0 where we're giving the quarterbacks grades, and you didn't want to
Mhm.
give JJ McCarthy a grade because you're trying to be fair of it. But yeah, he's just I don't know what it is. I mean, you would think any offense that has Kevin O'Connell as the OC, you have a solid O line, you have one of the best left tackles in football, you have a
Top
solid
receiving
1-2.
duo.
You have probably the second or third best wide receiver duo in the league. Anybody would be thrilled to have a Jordan Addison and a Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
But JJ McCarthy's making Justin Jefferson look like a I don't know. I'm not gonna say fraud because obviously he's not, but he's making Justin Jefferson look like a bad receiver. And then you
Mm-hmm.
see the videos where he's slamming his helmet, he's throwing fits. But this is what wide receivers do. They're naturally divas to their core. They
They
need the ball to
are,
work.
they are, but Justin Jefferson keeps his head cool for the most part. So if he's losing his shit, you know it's bad.
And I'm not even saying like the diva comment as like a negative connotation on him. I would be
Mm-hmm.
frustrated as shit too. There were so many passes in this game where he's throwing to wide open receivers, which I expected it. Our defense is atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
But he's airmailing people that are wide open. Some of them not even on the run. They're standing perfectly still. So all in all, bad for the Vikings. I definitely didn't see them losing out this division like this, but I definitely think that they're gonna come in dead last. Same with them. They have a hard schedule kind of moving forward, same as the Bears. So I'll jump into the Bears here in a second. I'll just move on to the Lions. couple of tough losses that kind of made them lose this division for now. I agree with you, though. I do believe the Lions will come out on top of this division. They're just too talented. It's the same thing as the Eagles. Like, even if you guys fall short a game or you guys underperform for a few weeks, like, you guys just have too much damn talent. So, Lions, same thing. I think I still have them winning this division. But one thing I didn't have is I don't have the Packers as my second place finisher anymore at this point. You're right. Like you called it weeks ago. They're fraudulent. They're
Mhm.
struggling with bad teams and we'll get into my Bears here in a second, but the same teams that my Bears are making comebacks against, the Packers are struggling to beat them, and the Packers have more talent on the defense by a mile than my Chicago Bears. They have a good pass rush. They can stop the run. They can stop wide receivers. Like they can do it all. Like I believe they were the fourth against the running backs. They were like eighth against wide receivers. They've had a legit defense all around. And you guys almost blew it to Jameis Winston, the third string quarterback on the New York Football Giants with no wide receivers and backup running backs. Like fraudulent as hell. I definitely didn't have this when we did our prediction video of the NFC North standings, but I got Packers third in this division and in second place, falling short of the Lions. I do have my Bears. They surprised the hell out of me and probably most Bears fans this season. Like, when everyone's doing the predictions, I had it like year after year after year. I'm like 10 wins, 11 wins.
Yeah.
You get excited because the Bears typically have this like connotation of the offseason champions. Like, we do things that a lot of people like that don't even really care about the Bears, and they're like, "Oh, Bears made good moves," and it never panned out. But the difference maker is easily Ben Johnson. He's coaching his ass off. Again, I didn't like his play calling these last 2 weeks, and he's gonna have to step it up, especially when it comes to these tougher matchups.
Mhm.
But he's a hell of a coach. I feel like the Bears found their coach. We found our coach of the future. But yeah, the Bears just surprised me all in all this season. Wasn't expecting this. It's typically in their nature. The Bears don't come out with these wins, and we've done it multiple times this year. Most of our wins have actually been these last fourth quarter comebacks, last second touchdowns, whatever have you. But I definitely have them finishing second. I feel like we're going to lose some of these games coming up. The nice thing is that we did get to a 7-win start going into week 12. So if we can possibly win out of these last 7, 3 games, 4 games, we have a chance to make a wild card. So that'll be nice if we can get it done. I would love to beat the Lions in the final week to get Ben Johnson his sweet, sweet revenge. And then if we're a playoff team at that point, like just go in with all the momentum in the world. I don't expect us to be one of those teams that we already clinched a playoff spot in the last week. We're going to sit our starters. So I feel like we have a lot to play for in that game. I just hope that the Lions more so, same thing, like, they'll have something to play for as well. Maybe it'll be a closer race at the end because I would
Yeah.
love to see a full matchup against full matchup. I don't wanna see backups versus the starters, but yeah,
Yeah.
shaped out to be very competitive. We'll probably do, an NFC West standings and a video coming soon as well because that
Mhm.
division's getting pretty competitive right now.
Yeah, so I would say when it comes to you guys, um, I hate putting must wins on certain teams, but I do think the Steelers game this weekend is a must win for the Bears
I agree.
because just because you're probably gonna lose three, two of your next three. Just because I'm riding with my Eagles, of course, but it's nothing against Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams is gonna be in hell against Lord Vic Fangio's defense.
Mhm.
He just is. Just because Fangio's got those so many different schemes and looks at him that he probably hasn't seen much of this year. That's why I really have confidence in the Eagles going into that game. And I'm just if we can't drop 25 points on the Bears defense, I'm personally taking a flight to Philly and making Kevin Patullo go missing. Personally, I'll take matters in my own damn hands. It will be taken care of. I promise you, Eagles fans. I promise you. Um, but yeah, Bears have a must win against the Steelers this weekend. And then like I said, if they just split their games with the Bears or with the Packers, they'll be fine. I do think that Niners game is really interesting. You're actually going to that game. Now I think about it.
Yep.
That's be a big game for probably both teams. That's kind of the scary thing that could be determined gets into the wild card between the Niners and the Bears that game in all honesty.
Yeah. So with that game being said, like, that's one of the ones that I'm, like, more scared about. I'm confident that we could split the Packers. I'm hopeful that we could sweep them. If we could sweep the Packers, we can lose the Steelers game, but we have to win the Browns game no matter what.
Yeah.
Um, One of the worst offenses in the league, but the best second best defense in the league. So that one's gonna be hard for Caleb. He's gonna be in hell for that one, especially with your Eagles. We're still not gonna have most of our defensive starters by then. So you guys are probably just gonna blow us out, even if we compete slightly on offense. Like I just don't think we have enough to overcome your guys' defense. My hand was forced to make that bet with you. I do not like betting on my Bears when it comes to teams I know for sure we're gonna lose against. But even if we lose the Eagles, we're expected to. You guys are defending Super Bowl champions. You guys are one of the best teams in the NFC. So I'm not gonna be too hurt about that one. The interesting thing with the Bears, though, is we've gone pretty much the entire year without TJ Edwards, who, in my opinion, is our best linebacker. I know Tremaine Edmonds has played very well this year, especially when it comes to the
Mhm.
interception aspect. But TJ Edwards is so much better of like a run stopper, and you see it when he's not there. Teams run all over us, and then we're
Mhm.
also going to possibly get back very soon because they just brought him, opened his 21-day window. Is Jalen Johnson, who arguably, in my opinion, if it's not Joe Thuney, our left guard, it's Jalen Johnson is the best player on this football team.
I
So
agree.
playing the whole year without him, we're gonna get him back, TJ Edwards, and we're gonna get Kyler Gordon, who in my opinion is a top 10 corner or a nickel safety or nickel corner in this league. So getting those three players back would be huge and can honestly determine the rest of the season for us. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of when we get them back. They're
100%.
not expected back for this game, nor the Phillies game or the Eagles game on a short week. So if we can get them back for those division games, that Cleveland Brown game, and as well as the 49ers game, I mean, I like our chances to at least be competitive, but we'll see how the rest of the season shapes out.
The bright side for the Browns against will probably be Shaduki at quarterback, so you're fine.
Hope so.
All right, guys. To close it out, we gotta talk about the Chiefs. They are currently on the outside looking in the playoffs. If the season ended today, they would indeed be out of the playoffs. Like I said, this offense doesn't scare anyone anymore. This defense is not playing bad this year by any means necessary. But the thing is also is that the Chiefs are a team that they should be more reliant on the offense than their defense for sure. There's a lot of
Yeah.
holes in that defense still. I know Steve Spagnuolo is one of the better a top three defense coordinator in the league without a doubt. But the Chiefs aren't putting up points at the volume they need to be winning these games. They have a very tough matchup against the Colts this weekend, which I think might be a loss because I think Colts will just control time of possession with Jonathan Taylor. Ooh, excuse me. But I will say, I personally don't think the Chiefs will make the playoffs this year. I know that's kind of a hot take because it's like, oh, you're counting out Patrick Mahomes. Yes, because there's something about this team this year in particular that they're not winning the close games that they normally win. They're now
Mm-mm.
0-5 in one score games versus last year they went 6-0 in one score games. And yes, your schedule is a little more favorable to them, but my concern for this team is you still have a meeting with Denver again on Christmas
Yeah.
Day. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the game that I think Denver will probably have the division clinched by then. But if Denver really wants to, they be like, hey, let's just take this team, let's just prevent this team from making the playoff in general and play all their starters and win it, you know? Because, like I said, I think they lose to the Colts. They'll probably mollywop the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. That'll be a great. We're gonna feast on food. They're gonna feast on the Cowboys defense. But anyways, then they play the Texans. That game gets very interesting. The Texas game gets very interesting. I think just because how good that Texans defense is, it'd be a similar situation as they had against Denver. And CJ Stroud will be back by then. And that game is very interesting. So that's a very losable game. Then you get the Chargers. They theoretically they should win that game because of the Chargers injuries. But again, Hampton will be back, and the Chargers did beat him in Brazil week 1. So I
Yeah.
also wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers pull it out in this game. They'll beat the Titans. Like I said, the Broncos game on Christmas is gonna be that is if that is the Super Bowl for the Chiefs right there. That Broncos game on Christmas Day, because I think that game determines their fate for the year. Because they'll
Yep.
win the last game against the Raiders, 100%. Last game of the season. So where do you stand with the Chiefs? I don't have them making the playoff or even the wild card at all. Where do you stand on them? And how do you view the Chiefs now from the last few years to this year's team?
It's almost unrecognizable. I mean, Mahomes was like on an MVP trajectory to start the year, but they weren't winning games. Like he was playing well, but they were still losing.
Mhm.
And like you said, like they're doing awful in these one-score games coming up to the end, and usually they do win these games. One thing I have noticed, and I'm not trying to be like the typical fan, all the Chiefs get all the flags and stuff like that, but no, like it was like to the point where like it was you're an idiot if you didn't say it was obvious. Like it was just insane to see like some of the flags they're drawing these last few seasons. I
Yeah,
wonder if the
100%.
NFL made it a point to call the games more fair, and you could kind of see it on television. Like they're not getting these like bullshit PIs for 40-yard passes that weren't even in the vicinity of a receiver, wasn't a catchable ball, but they already have one hand on the flag just in case he doesn't come down with it. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know how much that plays a factor. I do know watching some of these games, like the refs are almost dictating these outcomes of like how it's going to happen. So that could be a portion, but this team in general, like something just seems off this season. I don't know if it's the Travis Kelsey Taylor Swift marriage coming up that is drawing too many eyes on them, and some of the guys in the locker room just want to play football. They don't want to be on TMZ magazine with their teammate who's getting married to one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now. But regardless if that even has any kind of like consequences on the locker room, like something just off with this team. Like they don't seem as tight knit as they usually are.
Mhm.
Like this team always like just rubbed me as like a family, you know, like they're super close. They hang out outside of football. They know each other's kids and wives and all this stuff. But this year they just I don't know. It seems like a lot of strangers on a football team, even though it's practically the same team they've had for the last several years. So I have them close. The AFC is very weak this year. They're 5-5 right now, but the Chargers are at 7-4. I do expect him to get it back together, especially with the Marion Hampton possibly coming back after the bye. And they will get Joe Alt back in a couple of weeks, so that'll help as well. Because he
Mhm.
didn't end his season, but he did go to IR, so it's probably gonna be 4 to 6 weeks. So depending on more of the 4 weeks or more of the 6 weeks. But if they can get Joe Alt back, Marion Hampton, I I'm liking the Chargers' chances to win. And I think the Broncos, like you said, had clinched this division already with that win over the Chiefs. So
Mhm.
it would have to just be that the AFC just completely implodes for them to have a chance. My opinion right now is I think they have a chance to make it. It's just one of those teams, like something just tells me I hate to think that the NFL could actually be this way because it's a game I grew up loving. But something just tells me that the NFL might somehow do something to make sure that the Chiefs make it to the playoffs.
So for me, I just looked it up now. The reason why I still think they're on the outside looking in no matter what is because Denver is 2-1 in the division, but the Chargers are 3-0 in the division. The Chargers beating all three of their division opponents to start off the season gave them a massive leg up on the team like the Chiefs. So if the Chargers could just, they're probably going to sweep the Raiders. So let's just say 4-0 there with the Raiders win.
Yep.
Even if they just split with Denver and the Chiefs, because they already won once against both these teams. If they lose both those games, they still have the better division record than the Chiefs. If they have a better overall record than the Chiefs at the end of the year, the Chiefs are mathematically eliminated depending on what happens. Well, they are mathematically eliminated at that point because either the Bills or the Patriots get in from the East.
Yep.
Because whoever wins that division, the second place runner up is going to be the wild card team, 100%.
Yep.
So I do think the Chiefs will make it this year. I think what's really affected them this year is the lack of a run game. I think they gone by the past few years with having like decent running back, like mediocre running backs just getting by with them. But this is a team now that they need to invest in running back, and I surprised they didn't offer more for Brees Hall. I know they probably didn't want to give up like a second round pick or something like that, but like if you're this team and you're still in the middle of kind of like a dynasty run, there's no reason why you shouldn't have given up that pick to go get him because you're not going to get another. I think the running back market's gonna be pretty dry this offseason, if I remember correctly, because all
Yeah.
these other running backs got re-upped. Saquon got re-upped on an extension.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, you guys re-upped DeAndre Swift. Gibbs and Monty aren't going anywhere, probably. So the running back market's getting pretty dry for them. They're running out of options. And the other thing too that I really noticed about this team, this has been a very down year for Andy Reid in terms of his play calling. His innovation hasn't been there this year. I know they try to get tricky a few times this year, but this hasn't been the same Andy Reid offense that we're used to seeing because he's usually able to overcome a lot of things without players being out and lack of certain situations.
Yep.
This is giving me very reminiscent vibes of his last year in Philadelphia in terms of like we had the talent to win these games, but just something about the play calling was off. And this could just be an off year for the Chiefs. But if I'm just being honest here, if we're, let's call a spade, they're still punch drunk from the Super Bowl. We dick slapped them around a few times, gave bout to ass. Domestic violence on national television. They're still hurting about it. That's why they suck this year. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. Shout out Lord Vic Fangio again for putting belt to ass on them. They're just punch drunk. But yeah, in all honesty, I do think the Super Bowl did have an effect on them in terms of not them themselves, but it did make the whole league look at them differently for sure. That this invincible force is very, very beatable.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well be that too. It could just be that Super Bowl hangover. Like you guys had all this momentum to be the first three-peat team of a Super Bowl
Mhm.
champion in NFL history, and you guys lose to the Eagles in convincing fashion. Offense got completely dominated that entire game. So it could very well be that, like the team just went into the next season like, damn, like we're not gonna do that again. Like that was our only chance to ever be the first ever three-peat champions. Like
Mhm.
they don't have another 3 years in a row to do it. So that honestly could just be one of the answers right there alone too. Some of these players are getting old. Kelsey's gonna probably retire soon. The running back marketplace, at this point, it's probably looking like Javonte Williams if he doesn't get re-signed. I expect the Cowboys to re-sign him on a team-friendly deal, especially because
I don't
he was
expect Jerry Jones to
basically
pay nobody.
but that's the thing. He wants these guys to want to play for the Cowboys. He has this corny ass thing where it's like you got to earn that star and all this bullshit. Like, okay, yeah, you have to earn being a mediocre team year in year out. But if he's willing to accept a team friendly deal, I expect the Cowboys to bring him back. Rico Dowdle, he was on a 1 year contract. We'll see what the Panthers decide would do with him at the end of the season. But even then, they have to stop doing these half measures. They're relying on running backs that they're grabbing in the 5th round or later to fill in and just be these dominant number one running backs in the league. You guys draft typically pretty well. These last several years, you guys built that franchise off of it. You guys built a dynasty off the draft. So I don't know. Just if they would have just given up a third for Brees Hall, I know they're offering a fourth and they weren't willing to budge on that. But if you guys got Brees Hall, you guys wouldn't be in this predicament anyways. So it sucks to say, but you guys shot yourselves in the foot with that one. Like, that was the one weak point on your guys' offense was your running back room, and you guys could have fixed that overnight with Brees Hall. He would have been thrilled. He would have loved football again to go to the Chiefs. He was so pissed off and decimated and, like, defeated when he saw that he didn't get traded by the deadline. So, that's on you guys. If it would have worked the way you guys wanted, that 3rd round pick would have been at the end of the 3rd round anyways before the
Yeah.
compensatory pick. So, who gives a shit at that point? But
Mhm.
that's on the GM at that point. Yeah, I mean, now that you kinda pointed out that the Patriots and Bills, like, it's looking very real that they don't make the playoffs for the first time in the last I don't even know how many years it's been, maybe 7, but yeah, it's looking like a real possibility.
Yeah, because the other thing too with this team is that you pointed out last week when I called it out that their offensive line was statistically third in the league. But this is now back to back games where the Bills got after him on the pass rush. And the Bills don't have a very good pass rush or defense to begin with, and they got after him. We saw what Denver did to him. We saw what the Eagles did to him, not only in the Super Bowl, but when we played him in week 4, we got after Patrick Mahomes too. This offensive line has, I think their statistics have been skewed by some of the teams they played. When they play these higher level defenses, and we'll probably see it against the Texans here in a few weeks that Patrick Mahomes is being held again because he doesn't have time to throw the ball. And the thing with the Andy Reid offense too is that he does rely a lot on these longer developing plays. And he did switch it up in the second half of this game where they were going more towards a just get the ball out of Mahomes' hands as fast as possible type deal. But you can't rely on that because if you can't take the top off the defense, it does mitigate how teams play you. And you already don't have a run game as is. So these teams are already playing too high safeties at all times because they know you're not going to beat them using the run. Um,
Okay.
so the other thing, so I just pulled up the thing now. The other team that can make it into the wild card as well is the Jaguars at 6-4, and even the Texans.
Yeah.
So I know I said that Denver game was a big key for them, but looking at it now, that Texans game is going to be that might be the deciding factor for the Chiefs. Is
Yeah.
that game too? And not only that, you do have to consider the second place runner up in the NFC North or the AFC North to get into, which is be the Steelers or the Ravens, because I think we could both agree that the Ravens probably will win this division at some point in time. But we know how Mike Tomlin is. He always has a record that's just good enough to get into the playoffs. So
Yeah.
it's looking grim. According to NFL.com, they have him as a 51% chance to make the playoffs. I personally would have him like about 30%, 35%. I know they're giving them the Mahomes stimulus percentage right here with the
I was
51%.
just gonna say, yeah.
But I realistically, if I was a betting man, which I clearly am, um, I would hammer it for the Chiefs to not make the playoffs this year at this point. And crazy thing is, and well, the Bengals kind of fucked up my parlay, my preseason parlay, because I had them to make the playoffs. Burrow getting hurt ruined it for me. But I actually did put bread on the Broncos to win this division, and people call me crazy. And look at me now. Granted, I'm not getting
Yeah,
paid off as my fucking parlay, but look at me now.
yeah. Last thing I'm gonna say about this is just, yeah, now that you lay it out like that, like, well, all these other teams that possibly could sneak in as that wild card team, their chances look, you know, very slim. Like you said, with NFL.com giving him a 51% chance, you can tell that there some opinion went into that. That's not
Yeah.
like calculated statistics. That's no, he put his heart into that. Some dude put his personal opinion into that statistic
Mhm.
because there's no way. There's no way it's a 50-50 shot at this point. Like, it should definitely be lower, especially with their division looking as good as it does at the top. I mean, Chargers, I'm doubting the coach a little bit, but again, he's still building up that team that was a dog shit prior to him getting there. So if their players
100%.
get back, it almost seems like the Chiefs would have to win out at this point just to have a chance. And they don't have an easy ass schedule coming up. So we'll see.
I feel like they would need to win out to like really secure themselves to actually make the playoffs. But like I said, I think Denver just clinched the division essentially this past weekend. But other than that, guys, that's episode 10. 10 episodes in already. Kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy for us because time has flown by. Like, holy shit, episode 10. Like, this
Yeah.
is the 10th episode. So thank you guys for all support and everything. Continue to like and subscribe. All that flim flam stuff. Other than that, at least you got anything to say to people to close out episode 10?
No, I appreciate you guys consistently tuning in. You know, we're getting consistent views at this point. Views drop off. Sometimes they pick up. I get it. You know, longer form content isn't the move right now, but this is what we're passionate about. Again, we do this for the love of the game. We're not doing this to get paid or anything, but it would be a huge help if you guys can drop a subscription. It is free, doesn't cost you guys anything. If you guys have a second YouTube account, subscribe anyways. You don't get on it anyway, so might as well just give us a little support if you can. But all in all, appreciate all the love you guys have given us up to this point. So that's it for us.
And that is it for episode 10, guys. We are Forks and Clutch, and we'll see you guys for episode 11. Later, guys.